Here in Florida with Tom Loeffler.
Yeah.
It's hot, first off, humid over here, but good catching up with you, man. I know a few things I wanted to talk to you about. Most importantly, what's going on with the Jacobs Golovkin
A lot of
situation.
awards here in Florida at the WBC convention. But with Gennady's next fight, we're still in discussions with Al. I think we can finalize something this week, and I think once it gets finalized and once we can announce it, it's a huge fight. It's clearly Gennady's established himself as the #1 middleweight. At the same time, Gennady Jacobs has distinguished himself right behind Gennady as the #2 middleweight. He's a very dangerous opponent. He's got a long knockout streak as well. Gennady has 23 knockouts in a row. I think Danny has something like 88 or 90% knockout ratio, so two big punchers, and that'll be a fight where I don't think either guy's going to go backwards. So it'll be great if we can finalize that deal. WBA's mandated it as a mandatory. Gennady, he doesn't. He accepts all of his mandatory obligations. Sometimes it takes a little longer to work out a deal than we would like, but once the deal is worked out, I think everyone will be happy to, and everyone's anticipating and looking forward to that fight.
Fans would ask, what's the holdup? It seems that both guys want to fight, so what's taking so long?
Well, we're just, I'm talking to Al, and we're just trying to work out the final details. I think now, the purse bid is looming next Monday, but as I've said the whole time, it's more beneficial for both sides and for the promotion, for the guys, for us to work out a deal. And every indication that I've gotten from Al is that we'll work out a deal, and also that Danny wants to fight. Triple G certainly wants to, defend his titles against Danny, so I think it's a great matchup. I mean, it's one of those fights where with one win, Danny can all of a sudden be at the top of the sport, boxing, having multiple world titles that Gennady's worked so hard to get, or Gennady has a big win over a top guy. So it's a great matchup, and it's one of those winner-take-all fights.
You're pretty confident that next week it will be made? Like highly confident?
I'm hopeful that that'll get made this week. Yeah.
You're more confident in the Canelo one?
No, I had a meeting with Eric Gomez today as well, and we're still in discussions with Golden Boy to make that fight. I mean, what can you say about that fight? That's a with Canelo's fan base, with Gennady's fan base, that's a huge promotion as well. So
still on track though for the September.
That's a date. That's the working date for it. Yeah. September of next year. So if we can make that fight, I mean, that would be a huge year. But nobody can overlook Gennady Jacobs. I mean, it's a step-by-step process. But if we can finalize the Jacobs fight and then see what happens after that. Chavez now is talking about. He had a great win on Saturday. He made 168 pounds. So that would be a great fight. Gilberto Ramirez is out there, 168-pounder, undefeated. So I think the options are now opening up, in addition to all the fights over in the UK. I mean, Gennady had such a great reception when he fought Kell Brook. Whether Carl Froch decides to come out of retirement and prove that he's too big or too strong for Gennady, or the Eubanks fight, or Billy Joe Saunders has that last title that Gennady wants to unify with. So I think there's a lot of great options for him at this point.
We've seen Danny in various members of both networks. You mentioned the purse bid. Is it possible that it ends up on terrestrial TV at all, or is it something that you guys are gunning for HBO pay-per-view?
Well, we certainly will do everything we can to work out a deal, and then if the deal can't be worked out, to win a purse bid. So no one can really predict at that point, but I'm fairly confident that we can get it worked out.
Will it be a pay-per-view?
Well, we need to make the fight first, and then we'll figure out what's the best way to make it work. But I think once we make the deal, then I think everything else can be put in motion, and we would make an announcement shortly after that as far as the date, location, what type of platform it'll be on, and the other fights on the show. We always like putting a great show together for the Triple G fight, so we'll do our best to put on the top fighters.
We'll see Chocolatito pairing with Gennady?
That would be the ideal situation. I think there's not a better 1-2 combination in the sport of boxing. Whenever they headline a show together, you know, you have the best middleweight out there, you have the best super flyweight now, so and really the best 2 pound-for-pound fighters in the sport. So the fans really like that combination. They love seeing that skill level that they bring together, and you've seen it in both in Madison Square Garden, you've seen it at the Forum, and you know, it would be great if we could do it one more time.
For that March date, do you think it's the first weekend of March or the second weekend of March, around that area?
We've targeted March, so again, once we can finalize the deal, then we'll have more specifics as far as the date and location and everything like that. Yeah.